Jai Hind everyone. I, Cadet Swarna, welcome you all to the another episode of You Are Limitless, You Are Limitless. Today we have Senior Cadet Captain Amogh Varadarajan with us. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah. You joined NCC at the very young age. What inspired you back then?
See, to be very honest, let me put this on record that, behind any person who has had some success in any venture, there is not necessarily inspiration. Mm-hmm. It can be the most trivial of things that might have started that chain of events. So for me, things started in 2015 when I was in class 5. So my school has a habit of publishing an yearly school magazine with a different name every year. Yeah. So I remember that when I had got that magazine at the end of my academic year in class 5, one of the pages had a picture of my seniors, school seniors. So they were all wearing these blue t-shirts and they were in some tent. So I was very, confused as to what they're doing.
Eager to know what it was.
Yeah. And over there, that was an article about NCC. So I read as to what is NCC and what do these guys do. So after reading that 1.5-2 pages article, I realized that basically NCC is an organization which takes you to a camp where you get to stay for 10 days with friends, away from family and away from school. So that was the inspiration behind joining NCC. So in 8th class, I joined NCC as the junior division cadet. And in 2019, I attended my first NCC camp, that is ATC4 LIDC, that lasted from 7th to 15th of August 2019. So that was how I joined NCC.
Okay, you were All India Best Cadet back in that young age.
Yes.
How was that experience? And why RDC?
And before you ask why RDC and how All India Best Cadet, there is a very important question as to why you thought of it in the first place.
Yeah.
If, as I mentioned earlier, I attended my first camp in August of 2019. So in the middle of the camp, there was one cadet who had come, an ex-cadet by that point. So everybody was flogging around him. There were about 50 to 60 co-cadets of mine from different schools who were surrounding him and treating him like a celebrity. I didn't know who he was at that point. Yeah. So I was very curious. As I approached him, I found out that he's somebody called Cadet Sean Jimmy. Cadet Sean Jimmy is my senior, who also happens to be the All India Best Cadet at JDJW Navy RDC 2019. He's from Hyderabad Public School, Begumpet. By that point, he had gained a lot of weight. So I didn't recognize him. Somebody from his school told me that, you see that picture of a boy with the Prime Minister over there at the, office. Yeah. So this is him.
The same one. Yeah.
And I didn't believe him at that point. So I remember I was a JD, not quite mature. So I didn't believe him. So I went up to that guy. I saluted him with my left hand. Like, Jain sir, how are you? So he was on the phone. He put down the phone. And he was like, are you serious? He gave me a very big lecture on that. So that was, one moment where I realized that, okay, he is somebody who is actually talking business. And later I went and spoke to the guy who introduced me to him. And there, after speaking to him, I realized that, there is nothing very unique about him. I felt that. I was like, he doesn't have anything that I don't have. Okay. So I was speaking to my co-cadet at that point that, I can also do this. This is not a big deal for me. So at that point, I was, somewhat taunted upon that you're thinking this, you have no idea what kind of a journey it is. It is supposed to be very hard and everything like that. So, at that point, for a teenager who has just entered his adolescence, ego is a very fragile thing. So my ego was hurt, and that's how I started my RDC journey. So it started over ego. And beyond that, I should say that at many points during IUC, during IGC and during pre-RDC, there were many points where I wanted to quit. And my mother, she was the motivation behind all this. In fact, nobody at my school knew what is RDC. Nobody actually cared about NCC because my ANO had retired by that point. We had a new ANO coming in at that point, and there was no man in charge at my school. So I was alone. I was a one-man army over there taking care of myself, and it was just my mother who was behind me, motivating me at every point that you can do it. So that's how I attended my first RDC. And as far as Best Cadet competition goes, even I don't realize how I became the Best Cadet at that point because, I was very weak at firing. Firing is one of the most crucial aspects of the best cadet competition for the senior division and the junior division cadets alike. So once I attended RDC, all of my events went very well. I took a very controversial step by staying neutral during my group discussion competition, and I was very skeptic about it, but I felt very confident because when I came out, the officer who was in charge for the group discussion, he walked out along with me, patted my back, congratulated me for my wonderful opinion, and he went back inside. So at that point I felt that yes, there is some hope left that I can become the AIBC. And ironically, when I was at the Prime Minister's house during the PM house visit, that was when the result came out, and you know, that was when I got to know that in the next 4 days I'm going to meet the Prime Minister and shake his hands.
Yeah.
So that was a wonderful experience. You know, tears rolled down my eyes, and along with me throughout my journey there was Senior Cadet Captain Shashikant Upadhyay, All India Best Cadet Senior Division Navy RDC 2020. We both were from the same unit, started our journey together. It lasted 6 months. We were, you know, together through thick and thin. Again, one of the main reasons why I am what I am today. And we both, you know, shed tears of joy together. And 4 days later, we were standing in front of the Prime Minister.
Such a special moment it was. So already you were All India Best Cadet back in junior division. So why did you try again in the senior division?
Again, this is the return of Senior Cadet Captain Shashikant Upadhyay in the picture. So as I told you, we both are from the same group, same directorate, same unit. And especially in every directorate in NCC, senior cadets and staff look down upon JD cadets and JW cadets in one way because they think that they're very young, they're school going kids.
Yeah.
What will they know? That is the kind of image that has been built up in the minds of the entire NCC fraternity, which I personally feel is very wrong because I have been in that position. Today, junior division cadets and junior wing cadets come from some of the most prestigious institutions in the country.
True.
And they know tenfold of what the senior division and senior wing cadets know.
Yeah.
They know a lot more about the world than we do. So I think that needs to be changed. And because of this, I was overshadowed by my senior. You know, everywhere I go, it was all about Senior Cadet Captain Shashikant Upadhyay being the All India Best Cadet Senior Division Navy. Amogh was always living in his shadow. I was never jealous of him, but I was, you know, always, looked down upon. I felt bad that, you know, I have gotten the same achievement, but why is it that I'm not getting the same recognition?
Yeah.
So that was one of the sources of motivation behind me wanting to join NCC again and do another RDC and try and become the first two-time All India Best NCC Cadet. But besides that also, there is one more reason. I have two very close friends of mine, Sergeant Kayomars and Senior Under Officer Kritika. We made a pact. We three of us, we did RDC together, our first RDC, and post that we made a pact that we are going to rejoin NCC and make bigger achievements than last time. So that was the reason. These are the two reasons why I did RDC and did the best cadet thing again.
Wow, and you three were successful at it.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So talking about your YEP, as you went to the Nepal delegation, that was the last delegation you went to. So how was that wait for the 1 year? Can you tell your experience?
The one reason why I wanted to YEP in the first place was because when we did our first RDC, I met some of the most capable individuals that I've ever met in my life. In fact, I'm very proud to say that some of the cadets, who appeared for YEP tests that year, they were with me. They were my seniors. Today, they are officers in the Indian Army today, and I'm very proud of that. So that is how capable they were. And that was obviously seen during the YP procedure as well. They were quite exceptional in all the competitions that they appeared for. Unfortunately, as soon as we came back from RDC that year, COVID happened and we were all locked away in our houses, as you all know, for 3 years. So unfortunately, nobody was able to do YEP from that batch. So apart from that, there is one more reason that when we were doing RDC, we were meeting a lot of foreign delegation cadets, as you all might have met.
Yeah, we did.
And one very shocking experience and revelation for us during that time was, most of the cadets, they were school-going students, usually younger than us.
Yes.
We were, at that point, we were 14 years old, 14, 15 years old when we did our first RDC. All the cadets we were meeting from the foreign countries, they were either in class 6, class 7 or class 8.
Yeah, they were school-going children.
And for us, that was very controversial. And we felt very bad that when, students or cadets from smaller countries, they are getting such wonderful opportunities to represent their country. Why can't we get the same opportunity to do so? And in fact, we posed this question during the closing ceremony of RDC 2020, and we were told that the DGNCC is working on it, and hopefully, junior division cadets and junior wing cadets also get this opportunity very soon.
Yeah.
So these were the two prime reasons why we wanted to do YEP in the first place. And doing the second RDC again, this was one of the reasons that we wanted to do YEP. And when we sat for the YEP procedure, somehow I had manifested that I will go to Nepal. Because at that point, I remember telling Kritika and some of my other friends that for some reason I feel I will be going to Nepal and I have to wait for over a year. I realized that very recently that I had told people this.
Oh.
So the first delegation list came out in the month of May. I remember it was sometime around 19th May, I believe, around that time. In the morning, the YP Kazakhstan list had been released.
Okay.
Some of my friends were there in that list. I was very happy for them. And now I was very excited because I had heard news that YP UK is also coming.
Oh.
And, I thought that, I might make it into that list. But, the same night, YP UK list was released. And as expected, as I was very happy, Senior Under Officer Kritika, my best friend, my bestie, was selected and nominated for that. And, days became weeks, weeks became months. And, there was no sign of Amogh going to YP. So that was, a very sad part about my tenure in NCC. That 1 year, was the longest that I had. And, we had a group of cadets throughout, whom we met at RDC. They were best cadets, cultural cadets, drill cadets. It was an amalgamation of a plethora of cadets from various directorates who had been, segregated into a WhatsApp group. So it was called BC, YEP. And I still remember the WhatsApp DP was, it was a plane with money showering at the bottom.
Wow.
So, everything, anything related to YP or OSD, it was coming into that group. Because, it was such a synergized effort between all the directorates that anywhere in the country, if a YP list has come, it will first come into that group. So, every day I started putting a message. Hello guys, any update? So, hello, comma, guys, question mark, any update? So, at one point I got busy with my exams and I didn't put a message. People started putting a message on my behalf. Hello guys, any update? I'm sending this message on behalf of Amogh. So, that is how desperate I had gone for going to YEP. And beyond a point when once the Russian delegations came and once the Vietnam delegation was over, in my mind I had understood that I'll be going to Nepal, and I was just waiting for the Nepal delegation list to come out.
Okay.
And on 17th of January 2024, I was speaking to one of my friends. Gratitude and favors have a way of coming back to you.
Yeah.
I have a friend in Tamil Nadu, CSU Harshad Babu. So he's an Air Force cadet. I had gotten hold of a OSD list, where his name was there. I called to congratulate him, and he was asking me, so your YP is done? I was like, no, my YP hasn't come yet. I don't know where I'm going. There is one last YP in Nepal. I'm hoping my name will come in that. I was like, wait, I have that list. So this was at, somewhere around 10:30, 11 p.m. at night. And, my feet went cold. My heart started pounding because I knew within that this is the last delegation.
Last hope, yeah.
And over the phone, he didn't send me the list. He said, wait. He opened the list in his phone and he immediately congratulated me. And, that's when I started crying again. Because this was something that I had been waiting for over a year. So long. And, people think that it is just after RDC that I started waiting for my list. It is something that I had been waiting for since the past 5 years. Wow. So YEP 2024 Nepal for me was not an effort of one RDC. It was an effort of 2 RDCs, 20 camps and so many other moments where, I had seen myself wearing the Indian flag and the India on my shoulder tabs. So it was definitely a wonderful experience of being able to see my name in YEP Nepal's list.
Yeah, can you elaborate more about your experience in YEP delegation?